And here we go. You know, the only thing that matters is the ending. It's the most important part of the story, the ending. And this one is very good. This one's perfect.
Well, it's not exactly perfect, but you get the point. Hey everybody, my name is Mike from the Super Wheeler Bros, and welcome back for another review of Season 7 of The Walking Dead. This time we are taking a look at the season finale of Season 7, episode number 16, The First Day of the Rest of Your Life. In a way, this episode is going to trick some people. It is a really, really good episode by itself. If we're not judging the rest of the season, which I'm not really going to do here. I'm really just going to take in the context of the entire season and then kind of wrap that up and place it around this episode. Essentially, if we judge this episode in a vacuum by itself, this is the best episode of the season. Maybe besides the premiere. And they're very, very different. Rick is in a very, very different place from when he was in the premiere to the season finale. As I said, this can trick some people, because if you take the totality of the season into effect, this doesn't really wrap it up in a satisfying conclusion necessarily, because Negan has been so bad to our group and has just tortured them. And there's really not a comeuppance. There's a whole bunch of building, and this was kind of a letdown as far as what that build was getting to. What was great about this episode was there was finally some tension. We finally got some tense scenes where you didn't know exactly what was going to happen. Now, I remember mentioning in my last review that I didn't know who the little birdies that mentioned to Negan that Rick and crew were kind of gathering up an army and trying to usurp the Savior's authority. I think that it was fairly obvious that that had to be Jadis and the Scavengers after looking at it a little deeper, and it turns out that was true. But it was handled really, really well. And I thought that that turn did make things a little bit more tense, even if it was a little bit predictable. The handling of Sasha in this episode I thought was done really, really well, and it actually gave her a pretty good and somewhat touching send-off. The scenes with Abraham coming back, Michael Cudlitz as Abraham, was great. It was great to see him back, and his interaction with Sasha was actually really, really good. They had some really interesting conversations. I felt like that could have been lopped off at least by maybe one of the little flashbacks there. I think that went on just a smidge too long to be as effective as they wanted it to be, but it did play to a good effect. It helped make Sasha's story feel more important. And it was sad to see her go because, like I said, I feel like she was really catching her stride right when the series was ending for her. And yes, there was another manipulation, not so much for the audience, but for Rick. And the difference this time is that there was actually some peril. There was actually a reason to get frightened that Michonne might not make it. And she really, really got beat up during this exchange with one of the scavengers up in that tower, compromising her sniping ability. I thought that that scene was handled well. I really, really enjoyed the juxtaposition of Rick being on his knees at the end of this episode and just defiantly getting in Negan's face and letting him know that he will kill him. You can take his hands, you can even take his son, but I promise you, you'll go in this world as well. I did enjoy that very, very much, and he almost seemed a little cavalier about Carl's life, but that's okay. I mean, I know a lot of fans don't like Carl. I personally think Carl is a little badass, but I know that that wouldn't have killed everybody if Carl had to go. But luckily, Shiva comes in, and what a very just impressive job that the special effects crew did with Shiva. If you look at the behind the scenes footage, like on Talking Dead and things like that, the giant blue man that was jumping around on all the characters, and just from going from that and doing what they did in post-production in order to bring Shiva to life and attacking those saviors, I think they did a really good job. There was a lot of gunfire later in this episode. Once it finally started kicking off, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed Negan's reaction, talking about that was a damn tiger. I enjoyed his reaction when he was leaving the Alexandria, flipping the bird to everybody, and just that whole scene, the entire ending of this episode really worked because it was tense, there was a lot of action, and it didn't let up. I feel like this was definitely not a disappointing episode. That's more like it, is what my first reaction was when I watched this episode. It's definitely not perfect, and my point of bringing up that little excerpt from Secret Window, where Johnny Depp is talking about the ending of the story, and that it's the most important part. I think that this episode can cover up for a lot of the missteps that this season took. It's going to feel a lot more satisfactory than Season 6 ended, with the just atrocious cliffhanger that we were left with. This one, you end with a little bit more clarity. Yes, we didn't get all-out war started, but that was just the first battle. That was the first skirmish in what is to come. I definitely feel like Sonequa Martin Green did a great job with her role, and I really appreciated her role as Sasha. I think that she went through a lot. She's been with us since Season 3, so she's been on the show a long time now, and it's definitely sad to see her go. I only wish we could have gotten Eugene blown the hell up and out of there, because my god, what an annoying character at this point. He's not serving any purpose. In the end, I feel like this episode really made up for a lot of the missteps. It was really enjoyable. It was tense. There was great performances. Andy Lincoln, his exchange with Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Rick and Negan respectively was very, very good. Scoring the season finale of The Walking Dead, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. As I said, there are some things that were not perfect in this episode, but I thought it was a really good, satisfying ending to the season. And while it's not amongst the best of the series as far as season finales go, with the way that we were plodding along during the season, I felt like this was a really positive step in the right direction, and I can only hope that they will heed the fans' warning and the fans' reaction going forward. The ratings for this season finale of The Walking Dead were down tremendously from the premiere of this season and from last year's season finale, and I think that you're seeing people voice their displeasure by not tuning in. Hopefully, again, the showrunner, Scott M. Gimple, really take that to heart and begin to not try to stretch this out as long as possible just for the sake of making more money and selling more toys and doing all the things that, you know, corporate entities do. Tell me what you guys thought of The Walking Dead season finale of Season 7 in the comments below. And keep your eye out for the entire season review, where basically I will be going through and detailing the entire season and how I felt about it as a whole. That should be coming out here very, very soon. If you enjoyed this review, then definitely hit that like button. It really helps us out. And if you did enjoy this review and you want to see more on the channel, including all of our other segments, definitely hit that subscribe button. My name is Mike from the Super Wheeler Bros, and as always, my friends, have yourselves a super week.